Hi everyone, this is Ricky with Romero Cards. I hope you're having a great week. This video, we are going to be using Kindred stamps set to do some watercoloring with a galaxy background. And what we're going to do here is just going to wet up the paper really good, and we're just applying all different kinds of colors onto this paper. Doesn't matter if they mix and turn a little brown, it's fine, muddy is fine. What you want to do is just add a bunch of colors here and then make them vivid, because we're going to do something that's really scary here in a second after this dries off. But we're going to add a little bit more color, make it a little darker, and go from there. The more vivid, the better. So the next thing we're going to do is the scary part, and what we're going to do is just put solid black watercolor on top of all of these colors. You don't want to make it so that you can't see through the black, but you do want to make sure that you can see through it. Maybe add a little water if you think it gets too dark, and go from there. And then we're just going to dry this off. And as we're drying it, you'll see it looks kind of messy right now, but once you add these two steps, it's going to look amazing. So I'm going to use some of these watercolors. I'm using actually I think it's called Starry Dust or Stardust. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to it. And what we're going to be doing is adding some stars to our galaxy here. So I'm just adding a little bit of water. Oh, it's called white gold. There it is, I see. Just mixing that up, getting a good mix, and then I'm going to splash it down to make it look like stars. Dried the brush a little bit more so I can add some smaller amounts, and to make it look like there are distant stars. Some bigger ones, some little ones. The next thing we're going to do is use some white acrylic paint, and it's just going to take a tiny bit. I actually put too much on my glass mat here for this. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to add some water to it, and then we're just going to add even more stars. We want the stars to look whiter than what's already on the galaxy right now. What's on the galaxy now is shiny, and this is just a more solid white, so it makes it look like the stars are actually closer. And when you do this, as you can see, paint goes everywhere when you do this, so you may want to put this in a box while you're doing that. We're going to dry that off. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. And then this is the best part, is taking the tape off and looking at how great this looks. I really wish I would have measured this, because I really would have liked to have this frame for the card, but it's fine. I end up cutting it down, but just seeing that stark white on the side looks so awesome. And then that's the galaxy background. And here's the stamp set we're going to be using by Kindred Stamps. It's called Time Traveler, and it's basically a Doctor Who stamp set. And I'm making this because I have two friends that are getting married, and they're two Doctor Who fanatics. So that's why I'm making it. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm going to stamp out all the images that I'm going to need for this card. And you want to make sure that you're using a Copic-friendly ink if you're going to be Copic coloring like I'm going to be doing. So just using the Tuxedo Black by Memento is great for that. The first thing I'm going to do is color in the TARDIS, I believe that's what they call this, with B18. And I'm basically just going in and doing one color. It's nothing fancy here. I'm not doing any blending. The image is so small, it really doesn't need any blending on it. It is a little hard to do with the tip. You have to make sure that it doesn't go in the lines or break through the lines. But yeah, that's about it. And just coloring this blue. And then the next color that I do is I'm going to be painting or coloring in the squares, and then also the windows. With the squares, I'm going to use FB2 to color this in, and it's just going to be one solid color. And then I'm going to use Y13 here to just color in the windows and actually the little lamp that is on top of the TARDIS. I have to go back and add the blue and yellow here. And then the next thing I'm going to do is just color in the bow tie and the tie with a basic red and a blue. And now it's time to start doing the doctors. I'm not really good at hair and skin colors. I'm still working on that. So as you can see, I'm working in through the colors. I do the solid color E57 with some stripes. Now I'm going in with E59 to do a little darkening. I go back with E55 and cover the whole thing. And then I go back with E57 and then again with E59. And I basically do this for both of the doctors. One of them, I leave the hair a little lighter. I'm not going to show you the coloring of the both doctors. As you can see here, this is the other doctor, and now what I'm going to do is going to start coloring in the outfits. I already colored the one on the top, the blue, but I did not use that because it was very blurry. And then even here, it's blurry as well. Unfortunately, my camera did not get to focus in on the paper. It's focusing on the pen, but that's okay. You're getting the gist. I'm basically using E25 and painting the whole suit with that. Then I'm going to go in with a darker color, E27, and add a little shadowing here onto the suit. I have to say I'm still practicing with these Copics. I'm not the best Copic color. There are definitely people that are better, but I'm starting to get more used to them, and I'm a little bit of trust myself with them. So I'm going back and I'll take in the lightest color and color all of that in again. And then I believe I add just a little bit more shade to the suit. Oh, I guess I don't. I did the same thing with the blue for the one on the top. I used the colorless blender to take out some of the brown that was on the skin of the hand. And now it's time to start coloring the skin. I'm going to use E41 first to lay down the base layer. What you didn't see is me practicing with a bunch of colors trying to find the correct combinations. But then I'm going to use E42 and add a little shadow around the hair and down towards the face. And then I'm going to use E00 to darken it up a little bit and add a little peachiness to the skin. I'm really learning skin tones here, so I'm still working on that. As you can see, this is the final images. I used my scan and cut to cut those out. And now we're going to start putting the card together. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to get out my Misty here, and we're going to put the sentiment on the outside of the card. I'm going to put this down into the Misty, use my magnets to hold it in place. And I'm actually going to use this grid to make sure that it's straight on the card. I always use this when I'm trying to put a sentiment on a card to make sure that it's straight. So excuse my head there. I got it straight, and now what I'm going to be doing is getting some embossing powder and also some embossing ink. I'm going to be using the Brutus Monroe embossing powder and the Versamark sticky ink. And basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stamp this down, make sure that I get good contact with the card, and then what I'm going to use is the Alabaster embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. I'm going to pour that onto the card, and then I'm going to tap off any extras that stay on the card. And actually, I could have left the extra on there because it has stars all over the card, but yeah, I'm going to heat this up, heat set it, and then we'll move over to the next step. So basically what we're going to do now is go ahead and put the card together. Just putting a few things together to make sure everything fits and all that good stuff. What I'm going to do is cut some fun foam, self-adhesive fun foam, to fit the back of the panel. I'm going to peel that off and put it on the back. And then I'm going to put 4 strips of double-sided tape on this. And this holds it down onto the card base. The watercolor often warps when you're using it and when you heat it. So that's why I have this. I'm going to peel off all the backings from this, and then I'm going to lay it down onto the card base and make sure that it's really straight. Then I'm going to take some liquid adhesive and I'm going to glue down the TARDIS or the phone booth down to the top of the card. I'm going to make sure that it sticks really well. And I actually put a block on that to let it dry for a little bit. Now we're going to be putting the sentiment inside the card. It's going to say celebrate or celebrate. I guess that's maybe how the doctors say it on the show. I'm not for sure. I've actually never really watched an episode of this show. A few times I have, but I don't really get how it really works out. But So I went ahead and stamped that out, and then we're going to put the two doctors inside the card. And I'm basically just going to use some liquid adhesive to put these two guys in here. And they're just going to be flat. There's no need in putting dimension inside the card. I'm going to glue this other guy down here. And then he's set. I want to make sure there's no glue sticking out, so when I close the card, it doesn't have any glue. I did get fingerprints all over this, so what I'm taking is a sand eraser to get rid of all those marks. I don't get rid of them completely, but it's close enough. But anyway, this is finishing the card. I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and please subscribe to my channel by clicking the big B at the end of this video, and go watch some other videos that I have posted as well. I hope you have a great week. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.